Hey everybody, how's it going? So I just was curious about my sweet potatoes and how they were doing. The ones that are in the same pot as my Badajon sesame. I'm not sure how many gallons this is, but it's a pretty big pot, if you can see from that angle right there. That's a pretty good angle. Yeah, it's a very big pot, but probably the largest size pot that you'll find at Home Depot or Menards, something like that. But this is a Japanese variety that I actually got from an Asian grocery store and have been growing for 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I just wanted to check up on them. I've seen a few other people on Instagram and YouTube were taking theirs out now, so I figured I may as well do it before our frost and then try to save as many of the sweet potato leaves to cook with. You see I got a little baby here, but I started pulling some out and I realized I've got a lot more than I thought I was going to get in this pot. I figured, you know, sweet potatoes are really productive in the ground, but as it turns out, they're pretty productive in pots. And this is, again, one plant that I took I took slips off of one potato that I saved from last year and made one plant that went into this pot, and now, oh my god, that was unexpected. So yeah, they're much more productive than I would have thought they would have been in pots. And I haven't finished digging them all out, so I figured I'd turn the camera on and we can be a little bit surprised together. Oh, that's a pretty cute one. I may have to have a couple of indoor plants for the winter. Some of these are probably going to be hard to dig up, because I'm trying not to destroy the root system of my eggplant quite yet. But I mean, they're going pretty far down. Again, a few small ones. Maybe those will be indoor plants or just little things to save. Ooh, this feels pretty good. Oh gosh. It fits in both hands. It's so big. It's like a little puppy. Here. See if we can see a little further down in there. A couple more. They're getting a little smaller, so maybe I'm using out a ton left. Oh, there's one right on the wall of the pot. That's where the wall of the pot was. I was pushing right up against it. Super vibrant. Purple on the outside, but white on the inside. Let's see if we got any more. How's it going? Ooh, there's something else down here. Oh, there's another one. Oh my gosh, another one. Yeah, so don't let anybody tell you that you can't grow sweet potatoes or other root crops in containers. Because, I mean, geez, look at that. That is, I mean, look at this one alone. That is insane. And, I mean, it's not like I babied the crap out of it. I definitely forgot to water sometimes. Oh, another one. But for the sake of the video, we're going to end it there. Yeah, okay, we'll end it there. But here there are two biggest ones. They're each the size of my hand, which is absolutely insane. So don't shy away from growing sweet potatoes in zone 5, even if they're grown in pots, because I'm blown away. Even the smaller ones are still good size. And you know, something like that, perfect for starting slips. Okay, so I finished taking sweet potatoes out of the large pot that I had in the front yard, and that's what all of these are right here. You saw the largest ones, very, very big. There were a lot of sweet potatoes in general, but now, since I'm just curious, I've got 2 pots in the backyard that are smaller, but also were in a greater deal of shade. The front yard probably got 3/4 of sun a day, and the rest was shade. Whereas these guys probably, this one here probably got the most shade and maybe only got 1/4 of a day of sun. Whereas this one, you know, it's under the canopy of a lot of plants over here, but it maybe, if it was lucky, got a half day of sun. So I'm not expecting a ton, maybe just large enough potatoes to make slips out of next year. But I figure let's give it a shot, and I'll put them in a separate bucket so that we can look. Pull the top part of the plant out first. So first off, I suppose, we'll look at the stem. The stem is maybe about half the thickness of the one that we had in the front yard. I don't even know if we'll have any sweet potatoes in here. You never know what'll happen. I'll just pour them in the bucket. So I'm seeing roots. There's a small sweet potato. That's the first one so far. But I'm seeing a lot of roots, and I don't know if you can see them. Just hanging out. Okay, here we go. There's another, relatively small. And they're basically at the bottom of this pot. Another one, really small. I accidentally cut that. Again, small. Okay, and here, let's get a little closer. At the bottom of our pot, complete bottom, we're starting to see a little bit more size. Definitely edible, but not ideal. However, if you aren't exactly looking for sweet potatoes from underground, but you're looking for a highly nutritious source of leaves, growing sweet potato for the leaves and parts of the stems that are more succulent actually is more nutritious than the sweet potato itself. So if you're still interested in growing something that's highly nutritious and produces a lot of food for you, I would still suggest growing some sweet potato, but instead of shooting for the tuber, I believe sweet potatoes are also a tuber, I would say grow them for the leaves. So you can still, in basically full shade, grow the sweet potato and get enough of a sweet potato for next year to grow slips off of, so that you can grow even more. Not nearly as productive. This pot itself is probably 1/6, maybe 1/5 of the amount of soil that the other had. This received no watering either. But let's angle our camera up. And this blue pot right here was planted similar to the eggplant, in that I planted a top canopy plant, which is in this case a ground cherry. In the front yard it was a eggplant, and then as a semi-decorative ground cover, I suppose, or something that's going to trail off, that is the sweet potato. So let's pull that stem up. It feels stronger. Okay. Now it's pretty tangled up in all these potatoes, but we'll do a comparison. So here is the one with the ground cherry, and here's the one that was by itself in a smaller pot. You can see that one's fairly large. Not quite as large as the one from the front yard that received full sun, but definitely larger. So I'm going to predict that we may be seeing some larger sweet potatoes. Now I'll move our camera up a little bit again. The level of light's getting a little low, so bear with me. Okay, this is the Ayachuco giant Cape gooseberry here. But we're going after our sweet potato right now. Oh, I'm feeling something. Okay, first one. Our first one is about the same size as the smaller one. I did accidentally damage that side, so that'll be one that we'll have to eat relatively soon. Okay, promising. Second one, looking really good. So already, little bit more sunlight on this one, but it may be the larger pot, allowing for, you know, the larger the pot, the more soil, the more nutrition available to the plant. But let's do a little bit of a recap. So this container here produced 2 small sized and then some micro sweet potatoes, whereas this larger blue pot that also had a ground cherry planted in it produced a little bit less, but the 2 that it did produce were larger. Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to amount that things were watered, competition, space, nutrients, and light. Now that's a lot to remember, but I think it all comes down to the key idea that you can grow sweet potatoes pretty much anywhere. You can put them in a pot and you'll at least get something like that will allow you to just store it, be gentle with it over the winter, and then start more slips off of it next year. And you know, you don't always have to go for sweet potatoes. You can aim to grow the leaves, which are more nutritious than the sweet potato themselves. And will actually grow in the shade. So the sweet potato leaves are productive in the shade. But if you want sweet potatoes themselves, more than half sun is recommended. If you can get full sun, you're gonna get more sweet potatoes. I hope that encourages you guys to grow some sweet potatoes, and I'll see you next time.